essentially, it's a program, it's like a Title 19 nursing home program, but it is intended to provide services to people in their home who aren't quite ready for, who don't meet the level of care for a nursing home. So it costs the state $2,687, I believe, per month to keep someone in a nursing home on Title 19. That's what the state ends up paying after, the person's resources are exhausted. And for the case management program, it costs $503. So you're looking at a difference of well over $2,100 a month to keep someone in their home, which is typically where they want to be, and if that's where they can still be. It's definitely a great cost saving, because there are people who've already met the Title 19 nursing home requirement.
Okay.
So
Thank
that's that program. Huge value added, and what Elderbridge does there is the case management, we coordinate the services. So we have case managers who make sure that a homemaker is coming into the home to make sure that their laundry gets done or whatever it is that they can't do for themselves.
Through then, I assume that you're working with the public health departments then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And we Elderbridge subcontracts wherever we can. So there may be, and perhaps there's someone in the room who might know more than I do about Sac County in specific, but there may be another organization in the county that provides case management that we subcontract with.
Well, our two options would be public health or mental health case management. Those would be the two options.
And once, I believe once someone hits 65, they're no longer eligible for the mental health case management. And then they transfer over to the elderly waiver case management. I believe that's how it works.
Okay.
Again, I'm a little rusty. I've just come back from Christmas, but so there are 34 people that Elderbridge has provided case management for in the county that are not picked up by the health department, that kind of thing. And again, the 26,000 figure does not reflect the total services that were brought in for those people. It reflects Elderbridge's billable services and case management, which is kind of like the iceberg. That's the 10% that sits above, and then there's the 90% that sits below. There's a lot more funding that comes into public health, that comes into the agencies that go out into the home and do those programs, but isn't reflected in our budget because the state pays them directly. Shore services, 331 hours for $3,600. On written homebound meals, there were 30,699 meals served. And this is 2008-2009, $444,000.
How many of those sites that you listed earlier, where are those meals prepared for those? I mean, is there
And I knew you were gonna ask me a question I couldn't answer on, because that's how it works. I know that Sac City prepares the meals for Sac City and for Lytton.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the numbers, Auburn 14 and Oklahoma 14, and I'm thinking that those sites probably share a kitchen somehow. I know that
Wall Lake.
Okay.
So maybe all three.
Okay.
Okay.
And because 14 a day isn't enough to sustain a kitchen there. Sac City is across, I'm turned around, but it's across the street, because I dropped our nutrition coordinator off there, and he could have answered that question without breaking a sweat, but he's doing either an inspection or some sort of check on their kitchen over every day to make sure that they meet the standards that are required. In Sac City, I know they do things a little differently here. Most of our sites prepare and do like an assembly line type of meal, and they do family style here in Sac City. And typically, no other site is allowed to do that because there's typically a lot of waste in preparing things family style. You have some leftovers, and once it's out, you can't bring it back into the kitchen to keep food safety standards, that sort of thing. But they've been the cooks here have done and the site manager here have done a really great job of keeping costs down. And so that's why we're able to do that here. I knew the answer to that one if it came up. Any other questions about the meal program?
Thank you.
Okay. Homemaker services, 238 hours, or close to $8,000. Legal assistance, 19 hours, or close to $1,000. And respite care, 94 hours for $3,700. Respite care is definitely one of those. One of those dollars that you spend one and you save 100. Because if those caregivers are not able to continue providing that care, they end up in institutional care, and that is, of course, a lot more expense. Plus, it's the right thing to do to help folks continue to care for their own loved ones. The total then, non-contracted voucher services in terms of material aid and med alert were 3 contacts for $2,600. The total services provided to Sac County in 7879 comes to $189,405. With the population of 11,500 in the 2000 census, 11,529 in the 2000 census, the population was 27.6% over age 60, and I would suspect that probably has grown even a little bit higher as the baby boomers are kind of hitting that 60 mark, and a lot of younger jobs just aren't as sustainable. So the funding that we're requesting for July 2010 through June through 2011, we had asked last year for $2.40 per senior in the county, and now we're asking for $2.52. It's a 5% increase, but again, it's $8,000, $8,018.64 in comparison to $189,000. It's a fairly good investment. So that's what we're asking for. We certainly appreciate all the support that you've given us, and hope to continue to keep doing some great stuff here.